Show me your news!
And now, coming through your speakers and into your ears, it's the gaming podcast that you all know and love. It's Show Me Your News!
Your favorite Super Smash Bros. Brawl podcast from 2007 continues to cover the latest in the video game industry at ShowMeYourNews.com. Now, let's join the show. Welcome to Show Me Your News,
the pinnacle for delivering and debating the gaming news that matters the most to you.
Rumor-filled gossip, hardware blunders, or upcoming releases.
If it relates to video games, we want to talk about it.
I am Peter, but you may know me as Yoko, and I am excited for the relaunch of the SMYN network.
I am Rachel, but you may know me as Evie, and I don't really have an introduction, but yay, we're podcasting Show Me Your News again. Woo!
I'm Joe, but you may know me as Dadabaga, and I am cross-stitching a Squirtle.
I'm Ben, but you may know me as Gym Leader Ben, and I'm Big Trouble in Little China.
All right.
You took mine!
Yeah. You didn't use it.
We are part of the SMYN network at ShowMeYourNews.com, and today is Saturday, April 11th, 2015. This is episode 177 of the podcast, and it is the start of a new era. Joe and Ben, you guys are the new co-hosts of Show Me Your News. Welcome.
All that bribery finally paid off!
Yeah.
Where's my bribe? How come I don't get any of this shit?
Wait, you were supposed to give her some of that.
Well, she already was a co-host.
Oh, Peter.
Guys, I mean, if the listeners haven't heard you before, where would they know you from?
They would know us from that other show that on the SMY network that nobody actually listens to because they're not crazy like us. They would know us from Read the Manual, or Moon Prism Power Hour, or RTM Radio, or The List, or I could keep going.
No, you guys do a lot of different shows on the Show Me Your News network, and going forward, it makes the most sense. We're kind of going into a new era of the network, kind of shifting gears a little bit. We knew that 2015 was a bit of a difficult time for this podcast, and we've been kind of on a couple-month hiatus, and it's been some good times. There's been some really rough times. It's just been kind of just a tumultuous series of events. But essentially, you may be wondering where Miles is, and Miles is internetless to an extent. He's also starting up 02D, his Smash clan in a way, for going to tournaments and whatnot, for different Smashers in that West Michigan area. So he's very busy with that, but he does not have a stable internet connection to podcast.
Peter's lying, he's dead.
He only has...
Cowboy Camp.
Cowboy Camp, that's right. Yeehaw! Panda went to get some milk. Miles is wrangling horses or something.
Tony, well,
He's wrestling the horses.
He's wrestling the horses. They went into this together, adventure those two. But Miles will help as much as he can. I don't think he's totally gone from the Show Me News sort of scope of things, but he will be as helpful as life allows him to be. Let's put it that way. So with two new co-hosts, we find ourselves at a crossroads with a new format where we literally show you our news. You may know us from another show on our SMY network called The Questionably Roundtable, where we talk about really any topic and nothing's off limits, but we each bring a topic of discussion, during the podcast and kind of go on that. Well, let's think about it. I mean, with game news, there's so much to talk about, but we each will be bringing one particular topic of news within the past couple weeks, and kind of we'll be discussing that all for your entertainment, for your information, and then we'll have some different aspects of Show Me Your News podcast before to kind of flesh it out. This helps because we will be able to put the shows in a little bit more segmented form on YouTube, kind of space it out throughout the week, and I think that'll be certainly helpful. So it has a lot of strategic advantages for what we are planning to do going forward, so I think it's wise to do. And this, we'll do podcasts every couple weeks, but it'll be supplemented by soapboxes, which we started to do back in February, and we're looking to start doing again. This time also with Joe and Ben's help, recording different little mini rants in a way to react to news faster. Should be a very interesting way to provide game coverage and what we're able to do this time around, in addition to all of the other shows we have at the Show Me Your News Network. I guess some of the happier news that happened is, Rachel, we got engaged.
Like we haven't talked about this a million times already in all the other formats that we do.
I mean, there may be listeners that don't listen to those shows.
I mean, even on RTM, it was a big topic of discussion. We haven't recorded an RTM in 2 months. That joke just fell flat.
So,
yeah, we got engaged, and it's amazing. And now I'm just stressing out of all the stuff I have to do to prepare for moving to the States.
which may be in early June.
Yep.
So things are happening. Like, this is going to be a year of transition, but big things ahead. So
Look out, America. I'm going to be in you.
there you go. So let's start this first section, and I'll bring this topic to the table because it was a pretty big one that happened in the couple months that we were gone, and so maybe a little dated to talk about it now, but I think it's still important because it's a lot of future speculation, and Show Me Your News has kind of always hinged itself on that sort of talk. Nintendo going mobile in conjunction with talks briefly about their next game platform.
Well, it's about damn time they got onto mobile.
In a way, I think. I mean, it's partnering with Japanese, big company there, DeNA, or it looks like DeNA, but it's DeNA, and they produce some really popular games there overseas. Maybe if they partnered with Apple, which would never have happened, like maybe they would be seen as more of a power move, but it was something that eventually had to be done, and it kind of shows that Nintendo's at a place where they may see their position slipping a little bit in the game business. You have to have some sort of partnership there. It also goes along with what they're looking to do for Club Nintendo and the successor to that. So hopefully they'll have some sort of online stability now with a company that kind of understands this new space that we're in.
This could go two ways, I think, and it could go really well. We'll have some really cool mobile games, and I'll play all of them, Nintendo. Or they could be Square Enix. With their wonderful, wonderful approach to mobile games. And by wonderful, I mean they're overpriced and they all suck.
Final Fantasy, all the bravest.
Oh my god.
They did have Theater Rhythm on mobile app as well on Apple.
Yeah.
And that's a freemium game, so it doesn't cost that much. And it's pretty fun.
Right.
Well, I mean, I'm a big fan of the Theater Rhythm games, but for the most part, I mean, I'm told I've never bought a Square Enix game on iOS, but like All the Bravest is the big example where it's awful. You gotta pay all this stupid money for the stupidest shit. But there's also like their iOS port of Final Fantasy VI, where not only does it apparently have a lot of bugs, but it also looks awful.
I think it was the same with Android too. Yeah, that's a good example of that one.
Mm-hmm.
Trying to redo the sprites and it doesn't work. It doesn't match with that sort of kind of aesthetic of the time.
No, you gotta keep the original sprites, in my opinion, if you're gonna be porting it to something else.
At first, I was like, yeah, Nintendo's very protective of their IPs, so surely they won't let anything that bad happen.
Right.
Because they're Nintendo. But then you also got to remember that the CDI was a thing at one point. This is not a first time thing for Nintendo handing off their stuff to another company and saying, yeah, just do whatever.
They must have learned from their mistake with the CDI, I would imagine, to not let people screw around with their shit again.
And they also did a Pokemon Shuffle recently.
Oh,
Trying to do a free-to-play sort of Pokemon game with some microtransactions, and it's just...
Which I actually kind of like Pokemon Shuffle, but I'll never use the microtransactions.
Right.
Yeah, apparently it's like Bejeweled, but Pokemon.
Right.
Yeah.
It's basically what it is, yeah. You'd think that they, with all of their backlog and all of the games that they have access to, make some sort of maybe virtual console on mobile. Well, no. No, because that'd be a way to free easy money, and why would they do that?
Well, I think their big problem with that is if they're going to do Virtual Console on a portable device, it's going to be the 3DS. Mm-hmm. Because putting them on a phone would just... And I don't think they want their main focus to be mobile games, because they've never been big fans of the mobile game market. Iwata especially. I don't think Miyamoto's a big fan either.
I understand that they want to keep the Nintendo games on the Nintendo platform, but then make better use of that system.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
I mean, we can talk a little bit about bringing in some of the Nintendo Direct things that happened, and we'll do so a little later. But you have to do better than that. Like now, introducing the Nintendo 64 and DS on Wii U's Virtual Console, and yeah, it's great to see some games in particular going there. But how will it go beyond that? Beyond these introductory weeks, how is the Wii games on Wii U gone? How is that really gone? You added, okay, maybe Sin and Punishment Star Successor after that. Anything else past the promotional games for that whole thing?
Also, why are DS and GBA games all going to Wii U?
Seriously. Yeah.
You guys have a mobile device. Like, thank you for putting them on Wii U. I'm glad. I think that the Wii U would work very well for DS emulation and will work very well. But, guys, you have a DS. Port them to that too.
Yep.
On the flip side of that, if you ever wanted to say stream on Twitch or something like that, one of those DS games, and you don't have one of those extremely expensive 3DS capture cards, then you can do it from your Wii U.
I just love that you call it a capture card. That's amazing.
Yeah, I meant to say capture card. My bad.
It's amazing.
That's a really good point. Is that like now that they're coming to Wii U, we can stream these, and like I can stream Golden Sun without using an emulator now. Because we have Golden Sun on our Wii U. I think one of us got it through Club Nintendo. Was it me or you?
I think you.
And now I don't need to use an emulator, because Nintendo has been very big on blocking emulated games, especially recently, videos of them at least.
Right.
Oh, yeah. I mean,
And
really, the law in Nintendo says that even if you own the game in a hard copy, like you have the cartridge, whatever, you still cannot legally emulate the games because it's still copyright infringement.
But at the same time, like, there's still the whole, like, guys, because I was actually going through and trying to set up a wish list on my 3DS the other night because I was bored on the eShop. Man, the Virtual Console selection is pitiful.
And like you'd think when they did the Ambassador games, like they got used to putting Game Boy Advanced, and NES and all these other games on there for ambassadors at the time, and that went nowhere. So yeah, they have all this big backlog of games to make money from, and yeah, if you're not going to put it on mobile, at least do a better job on your main proprietary systems.
Also, give me Pokemon Stadium 2 on Wii U. That's not really related to the topic at hand, but if you could do that for me, that would be real great. Thank you.
Wait, you could just come over to me and Peter when I'm living over there and play it on the Nintendo 64, because we got that Nintendo 64.
I already have it on the Nintendo 64, but I can't stream that.
Why not?
The 64 and the Hopage don't get along very well. And I mean, they do, and we can get them to work, but like if you so much as brush your leg up against anything, video's gone.
That's really
very, very finicky.
We did it for Smash 64 once, and it took us like 20 minutes to get working, and then we were terrified of touching anything.
But yeah, it'll be interesting to see Nintendo IP on a mobile platform, and hopefully that DeNA can make a solid successor to Club Nintendo, because that's obviously where this is also going. I wonder if we see some fruits of that at E3, because I guess this is supposed to be fall of 2015 that a new system will be out in place. So we got to hear maybe something at E3, or at least in a Nintendo Direct shortly after the fact, or maybe it'll be one of those things like, and it's out now in the fall.
That would be awesome. One request, when you guys do make the Club Nintendo successor, hey, if the website could like function, that would be awesome.
Handle any amount of traffic.
Just a suggestion, because it took me 3 days to get my platinum reward, and it shouldn't
ridiculous. And yeah, when people were cashing in all those final coins, that was a nightmare. Like I had
that put the site down for like a week.
Yeah,
it was ridiculous.
I had to do it at like 6 a.m.
Me too. Yeah.
Can I also just say that your Club Nintendo over there had much better rewards than what our Club Nintendo did over here?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Seriously. Oh, the best thing I got out of it was a carry pouch for my Nintendo 3DS. That was it.
Hell yeah.
Carry pouch. But while we're thinking towards the future, supposedly starting next year, we will be hearing more about codename NX for Nintendo's new game platform. They have not committed to saying that it's going to be a console or if it's going to be a handheld. It's their new dedicated game platform with a brand new concept under the development codename NX.
Hey,
The
listen,
Nintendo
Nintendo.
Wii U XL.
Nintendo, listen to me. You own the handheld market. You do very good games on the console market, but you just come on. Just focus on something that you have a strength in. Please. And you've only just brought out the 3DS XL, and all the new 3DSs, etc. So, what the hell are we going to expect? But they've even got new games that's supposed to be coming out on the Wii U. So what is this?
Yeah, I mean, the question is for how much longer will the new games come out on the Wii U? Because it's starting to wind down, and with the news that, well, again, we'll also talk about later, because it happens when you're off on hiatus for 2 months, with Zelda being delayed now to 2016 on Wii U.
I wonder if that's why they've delayed it so they can put it on the new console.
You gotta wonder. The precedent has been set before.
Oh boy.
I mean, Twilight Princess, it could happen again. So, you gotta think, it might be a possibility. And I
personally do not think that's what it is. Personally. And I'm gonna be like hated for saying this, and probably everybody's gonna kill me because I'm wrong, most likely. But VR. Everybody else is going for VR right now. All their competitors are going for VR right now. Maybe this is just Nintendo's run for VR. For all we know.
Virtual Boy 2.
Bringing back, was it that Wario game that was on there?
Yeah.
Wario Land and Mario Tennis, and those are the only two I know of. Out of its super small library.
Maybe we'll get the other half of the library this time. Because half of its games are just Japan only.
Right.
I mean, with Morpheus and Oculus Rift and whatever the fuck Microsoft's is called, I don't remember.
HoloLens.
Wow, what a stupid name. And all that, maybe that's just what this is. Because here's the thing, I don't want to believe that Nintendo's just going to be dropping the Wii U already, because it's finally starting to pick up steam.
Yeah,
more
maybe.
than it
did.
Was.
More than it was, but not to what it needs to be.
So, like, they should be focusing on that instead of sweeping it under the rug, because, like, it's not the Virtual Boy. It doesn't have the failings that the Virtual Boy had, which was, holy shit, what the fuck were we thinking?
Yeah.
What is this? Because the Wii is a good console. They just need to make some fucking games for it. So I certainly, personally hope that this isn't just them giving up on the Wii U already.
Right. And if they do, talk about it, say at next year's E3 2016, like, don't have it be for release that fall. 2017's okay. You can do that. It's fine. You're getting a jump on the next generation. What I'm hoping it will be is not VR. And it's not an original idea, because by now you've heard people speculate in the couple months that this has been news. But I think it needs to be the integration of the console and the handheld. The handheld that you can take away, that is powerful enough to play games on its own, maybe console quality games on its own, and then bring it back and continue, or at least have some synergy between the two.
So you want the Vita and the PS4?
No, because that is shoehorned and failed overall with remote play.
I mean, you know what I mean, though. Like,
right.
something in that vein.
I think for Vita, its reliance on Wi-Fi while away from the system is the downfall. It's not at an infrastructure nationwide that can totally maintain that. But to be able to play games like on your own, like download part of the game or all of the game, whatever, to this new handheld system, take it away, play it, send a save file back. I mean, games now, you can easily do the uploading of the save file to a cloud server to download it. I know Nintendo couldn't do that before, but maybe with DeNA they can do something like that. But I think that might be your next way to, if you really want to win back the hardcore, whatever it is you want to do, get back to doing something that only really Nintendo could do. Because I don't necessarily see Sony making Vita 2. Nintendo's going to make another handheld system. They're going to make another console. Why not develop them together and have them work in conjunction with each other?
They've already shown, like, yeah, we're willing to let the 3DS work with the Wii U. Like, not in that way, but you can use it as a controller in Smash. That's a good start, I guess.
That's a start, but yeah, you need something much more inherent to the system. Yeah.
they obviously have interest in getting the two to work together, and hopefully it's in more ways than just 3DS is your controller now. Because first off, does anybody use that? Second off, I've used it. Third off, yeah, that's a good idea. And who knows? The problem with Nintendo is that they're the ones that keep everything under wraps.
Yes.
Or that's not the problem with Nintendo. That's a good thing about Nintendo.
It is a good thing.
That's the problem with talking about Nintendo is they don't really show all their cards beforehand, and that's very smart of them. But it makes talking about Nintendo news a real bitch.
The problem with them also is that even when they do show off their new platform, they do things like at E3 just only show the controller, and people have to ask if it's a console. Oh, it's one that we called Wii U. I mean, the whole Japan hierarchy of, unwillingness to accept new ideas because it has to pass through that majority vote or whatever it is, that is probably the problem with Nintendo.
All that reminds me of is when they announced, was it the PS4 or the Xbox One, where it was like, yeah, we forgot to bring the console. Bye. They didn't show the console or the controller.
Yep. Oh, yeah, that's just going to be an interesting footnote in game history. Well, it should be exciting. I mean, seeing what Nintendo can do in that mobile space going forward, what the NX could possibly be, all things that we'll be talking about on Show Me Your News.
Show me your news.